Hi everyone, welcome and welcome back to JUENFO Kitchen where we just enjoy food. So let's enjoy some curry oxtail. Alright, so the very first thing that you need to do is to wash your oxtails and trim off any excess fat. I've already washed mine off camera with some vinegar, and luckily the place where I bought these, they already trimmed off the fat, so I don't have that to do. But if you buy yours and they're fatty, I recommend that you trim off all that excess fat. So what I have here is 2 pounds of oxtail, and to season I have some fresh herbs here, which includes some fresh thyme, and this is about 5 to 6 sprigs total. I have 4 cloves of garlic. These are pretty small, so I'm using 4. 1 stalk of scallion, which I've already started to cut in larger strips. A half of a small sweet pepper or bell pepper, a quarter of a large onion, some pimento, same thing as allspice, ginger, and Scotch bonnet pepper, which is optional. Based on your spice tolerance, you can leave it out completely or adjust the amount. For my dried seasonings, I have some salt, black pepper, all-purpose seasoning, and some curry powder, of course. So I'm only going to be using just some of the curry powder to season. The remainder I'm going to saute, as you will see later on. This is the curry powder that I'm using. I've tried other brands before, but I always come back to this one. My preference is Indian curry powder. I just love the flavor that it gives. You can definitely use whichever brand you like, as this is not a sponsored video, just a personal preference. So I went ahead and did a rough blend of my fresh herbs. You can chop them up if you like. I personally prefer to blend them. Now, if you happen to have your green seasoning on hand, you can go ahead and use a couple tablespoons of that as opposed to blending your herbs like I did here. Now you may be wondering, why is it that I blended the herbs as opposed to just using the green seasoning? And the reason for this is for the sake of this being a cooking tutorial. Not everyone is gonna have a whole batch of green seasoning blended and ready to be used, so I'd rather show you how it's done from scratch and not assume. I'll link the 2 green seasoning videos that I have on the channel, so if you're interested, you can go ahead and check them out. Now I'm gonna go ahead and add most of my freshly blended herbs, and I'm gonna reserve about 2 tablespoons or so. I'm gonna add this later on just to reinforce some extra flavor and to add a little bit of freshness to the dish. Now I'm gonna cover and allow this to marinate. I'd say give it a minimum of 2 hours, ideally overnight. So these oxtails have marinated overnight. When you marinate your meat overnight, I recommend that you take it out for at least an hour in order to get the chill from off of it. For the remainder of my ingredients, I have my dough here that I've already made to make my spinners, which are just little dumplings. If you need a detailed demonstration, I have a video, so I'll go ahead and link it for you so you can check it out. Here we have the remainder of our freshly blended seasoning. 1 small carrot, which I've already chopped. I have some turmeric and curry powder here. The turmeric is optional. It's essentially what the curry powder is made from, so you don't have to add it. I personally like to add it to my curry dishes. And lastly, I have a can of buttered beans here. If you have broad beans, that could work as well. To my pot here, I'm gonna add a couple tablespoons of oil and just heat this over medium heat. So once the oil heats a little, I'm gonna go ahead and add my turmeric powder and my curry powder. And you don't want your oil to be too hot when you add this. We Jamaicans say burn the curry, which simply means sauteing it in the oil for a few seconds. So I'm going to turn up my heat a little bit more and then add my oxtails and saute for a few minutes. So what I'm gonna do next is to transfer this to my pressure cooker. I'm gonna add about 3 cups of water, and that's hot water that I'm adding. Our meat is still hot, so we don't want to add cold water to a hot pot. And I'm gonna allow this to pressure cook for about 20 minutes, and that's 20 minutes from the time that it starts to pressure cook, not from the time that I put it on my stove. Now oxtails can take anywhere from 2+ hours to cook. So the aim here is to get our oxtails soft enough where you can reduce the cooking time significantly, but still leave it firm enough where you can still cook it down long enough to get that slow cooked taste. Alright guys, so after 20 minutes of pressure cooking, this is what we have. And now I'm gonna dump this straight back into our pot. So normally I would skim off the excess oil, which is a result from all the fats, before I add it back to the pot, but these were not fatty at all, which I'm very happy about. So I recommend that you skim off any excess oil that you might see before you finish these up. So now I'm gonna add everything else except the beans. I'm gonna add those closer to the end because these are canned beans and they're very soft and I want them to hold up. I'm gonna add a little bit more water. At this point, you want to taste and see if it needs anything and adjust to your preference. Now this is perfect. I'm not gonna add anything else to it, so I'm gonna cover and allow this to cook down. Alright guys, so I've cooked these down for a total of 25 minutes to be exact, and now they are fall off the bone tender. Your cooking time will largely depend on how thick and chunky your oxtails are. You can always check for doneness. Keep your flame low and top up with additional water if needed. So I'm gonna dump my beans in, which I've already drained, and I'm gonna allow this to simmer just for another minute or two so that everything can come together. This was so delicious. Everybody enjoyed it so much. I have another oxtail video here on the channel. I'll leave it here so you can check it out. Please like, share and subscribe. When you like the video, it helps the channel to grow. The algorithm pushes out the videos to more people. Also, connect with me on my other social media platforms and visit the website. They are all linked in the description as well as the recipe. Thanks for watching, and until next time, live life to the fullest and just enjoy food.